Hello. Happy Halloween. How is everyone doing? We will see, but we should be able to stream a little longer today. We'll try to go for 2 hours today. I still need to do things afterwards, but they're not needing to be done right away. So we will see how far we get. What else? Oh, does anyone have plans for Halloween? I'm not doing much. Sorry. Plans. I'm just doing stuff with friends tonight. Otherwise, we don't have any plans. Put some candy outside for trick-or-treaters, but otherwise, nothing exciting. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. We'll just jump right in. Okay. The background song is different now, and I really like this one now. I think the other one was too happy, and listening to it on repeat for minutes on end just drove me insane, but this one's not bad. I don't know why I'm getting so many texts all of a sudden today. I need to make sure you guys can hear me before we go too far too. Okay, I can hear myself. I guess you can listen to this nice music while I answer texts. Normally, I don't get so many texts, so I don't put the phone. I kind of need the phone on in case something happens. But I normally don't get this many texts. Okay. Continue. Okay. I think I figured out the... Oh, yes, I think I figured out the new mechanic. So, I think... Okay, texting should be done. I think what we need to do is unlock all these extra endings we never got. So then we can actually change them to the different endings. Obviously, I didn't do this. Maybe I don't know what this new mechanic actually does. But it locked this one, that's odd. Huh. At least I think. I know some of them had special endings. Or things we needed to do. Let me... okay, not that one. Okay, it looks like... Okay, let us fix this one really quick. Let's see. entered the passcode. Nothing inside. Open the door. We read this. I don't know why I didn't just flip the ending. I did not need to actually do that. Bad. Why is it bad now? Oh, because that's the ending we're on. We need the S ending. What am I doing wrong? We'll just quickly try to get all the endings really quick. Okay, obviously I didn't get this ending somehow. Zuko grabbed me from behind and dragged me away from the door that I just opened, but I caught a glimpse of the box on the floor of the empty arsenal, and then boom, the box morphed into an engulfing flame and swallowed Zuko and me without the door in its way. The door didn't open as I had hoped. That was strange. Had I misremembered the passcode? No, not possible. I had recorded the passcode yesterday. I had even checked twice today when someone else was opening the safe. The last person to use the safe was Lieutenant Kim. Had he noticed my plan and changed the passcode? I went back to my seat defeated. What else could I do to help Lieutenant King? Who else could help me now? Oh, right, I should go see Officer Ji Yeon. I took a cab and hurried to the hospital, but I didn't get to see her there. The nurse told me that she had checked out and left the hospital earlier that day, but I didn't have a phone number to contact her. Damn it, was there nothing else I can do? Please, Buddha, please guide me. What should I do? I don't think that was a different ending. And if I do absolutely nothing... Before I entered the passcode, I heard clear footsteps coming in my direction. I had no time to check on who was coming, so I snuck back to my seat. I took another peek at the mirror on Officer Jin Yeon's desk and happened to catch Lieutenant Kim's eyes looking right back at me. I immediately looked away in a panic, lowered my head, and continued writing the non-existent report. Lieutenant Kim walked past me and into the bathroom. I don't know why I can't get the Let us see. Okay, what do we have? We have rain. Maybe I have to change this ending? No. A gun? Although I had no idea where Blackie even got a gun from, I didn't believe that he had the guts to pull the trigger. I started staring at Blackie, trying to scare him off. He was staring right back at me. The sun had come out. All of the spectating cats had fallen asleep a long time ago, but Blackie was still staring at me. His eyes were wide open, and he had tied black bags around them. How could I tell that he had black bags around his eyes? I just could. Shut up. Finally, I gave up. I couldn't hold it any longer. I needed to pee. This was a big country. I was sure that I could always find another big empty pipe, an emptier, bigger, and better pipe, no less. Meow. My spit flew into his eyes and temporarily blinded him. I thought I had the upper hand, but Lieutenant King swiftly held up his left hand based on nothing but his hearing. You don't get food. Go away. I had flung my tail towards him, hoping I could land a surprise attack, but it was stopped by his bare hand, which was holding the spearhead firmly in front of him. No one had been able to stop my tail with their bare hands before. At this point, I had no choice but to drop my weapon. But Lieutenant King had finally seen his chance. He sprinted towards me, still holding my tail with his left hand and a dried salted fish in his right. He raised the fish high in the air and slapped it down on my face as if it was a hammer. After a loud, crisp slap, I fell onto the ground with a fish-shaped mark on my face, and my consciousness began drifting away. I lost. Okay, that didn't unlock what we need. This enormous piece of dried salted fish represented unquestionable authority. Whoever had the dried salted fish was the leader of the cats. So what? I kept staring at Blackie, trying to scare him off. He was staring right back at me. The sun had come out, all of the spectating cats had fallen asleep a long time ago, but Blackie was still staring at me. His eyes were wide open, and he had tired black bags around them. How could I tell that he had black bags around his eyes? I just could. Shut up. I finally gave up. I couldn't hold it any longer. I needed to pee. My spit flew into his eyes and temporarily blinded him. I thought I had the upper hand, but Lieutenant King swiftly held up his left hand just based on his hearing. I had flung my tail towards him, hoping that I could land a surprise attack, but it was stopped with his bare hand. He sprinted at me, still holding my tail in his left hand and the gun in his right. Then I heard a gunshot before sinking into an infinite darkness filled with nothing but regret. I really don't know what I'm doing then. Maybe I messed up a long time ago and cannot fix it now. No, that didn't help. No. Let us try to get these other endings, I guess, really quick. Maybe this is the letter we need to fix? Oops. Helps if I actually change what we're doing. The exquisite looking glass was smashed into pieces near my feet. The bodyguards of the one-armed man immediately raised their guns in case I tried to do something to their boss. The one-armed man himself was sitting calmly on the sofa as if he was waiting for his show. The old man looked at the one-armed man nervously and looked back at me. He was still confused, even though it hadn't gone as planned. I couldn't give up now. Go to hell, you dirty old monster. I bent down and picked up the largest piece of glass. To my right, but my right hand was somehow blown into pieces right before my eyes. And then I felt more bullets hitting me in the chest, shoulders, stomach, legs. I could feel the white velvet carpet touching my face. It felt so soft. Slowly, it had turned into a bright red. He put down the bottle. He then spoke to me in his drunken voice. I have won the lottery. He took another chug of the beer. I won 1,000,000 won. Burp. I was going to get my son back. Sure, you won 1,000,000 won. What the cat hell did that have anything to do with me? I lowered my head and continued with my milk. I ignored the boring human. Did that unlock it? No. Happy Halloween. I kept swallowing the flavored wine down my own throat. I would rather drink the poison wine myself than have some innocent bystander die because of me. The bottle smashed to pieces on the floor as a strange sensation took over my body. I could not breathe. My mouth was wide open. I grabbed at my throat with both of my hands and fell to the floor. My whole body was twitching. As I gradually lost consciousness, I heard a couple of gunshots. The old man fell in front of my face. His eyes were wide open and full of shock. Blood was oozing out of his forehead, turning... You're fine. You don't need to meow. Turning the white velvet carpet to a bright red. Even though things had not gone as planned, I could die without regret now, you dirty old monster. I would haunt you on our way to hell. The yellow beer and the white milk mixed together and turned into a disgusting color. How dare you, you lousy loser? That was my lunch. I stared at the cold, stone-faced man waving my fist. You just wait. I swear I'm going to stuff dead rats into your bed tonight. The stone-faced man, however, seemed to have ignored all of my threats. He stood back up, happily turning away and walking into the nearby lottery place. Wait, this new milk cocktail seemed to have an extraordinary scent. I, being the bravest soul in the whole universe, drank the milk that looked like it was going to give me diarrhea. As a result, I did get diarrhea in the evening. What was worse, it smelled absolutely horrible. Damn you, human. No. Why is this not working? I really don't know what we're doing wrong. Okay. We'll just... It has been a while. I've also had troubles just streaming on Tuesdays in general. Why do I keep doing this? Knocked over the glass. Okay. He poured the yellow beer onto my head. Meow, how dare you, you puny human. Let me give you a taste of my power. I jumped onto his shoulder and pulled out my ultimate skill used by the one and only Spotty, the fist of the unbreakable catty Spotty. Fun! I hope everything's going well with this new schedule. After my relentless wave of attacks, his face began to look like a cross-cut fish felt. Well, the stone-faced man had a bad personality. He wasn't a bad person, Meow. He used to be a road construction worker. He would go to the lottery place on the street sometime after work to buy some tickets. An old granny used to live there and run the place. 2 years ago, she suddenly lost her sight, and he had resigned from his job to help out the place. I had been living on the same street for a few years, so there was nothing I didn't know, meow. For the sake of the old granny, I would spare you, meow. Okay. No, that did not unlock what we need either. What's the last ending? Knocked over the glass, cracked the bottle. The one-armed man put down the wine glass and picked up the phone handed to him by the scarred-faced henchman. It seemed that something more urgent had come up. The gang left the mansion immediately. As soon as he had sent them away, the old man changed into his normal self and smashed the remaining bottle of wine on the table. Damn you, Ray, how dare you belittle me like this? One day, you'll pay for it. The wine was turning the white velvet carpet a bright red color. I had mixed all of the poison into that bottle. What was I supposed to do without it? He put down the bottle. He spoke to me in his drunken voice. I have won the lottery. He took another chug of the beer. I won 1,000,000 won. I was going to get my son back. I looked at the spilled milk, feeling irritated. What the cat hell did this have anything to do with me? I waved my fist at the stone-faced man. Just you wait. I swear I'm going to stuff dead rats into your bed tonight. Damn you, human. Why am I not... I don't know how this works. I might have actually messed up. Okay. We'll leave that there. This one? Change to this. Okay, well, that did nothing. Maybe I need this ending back. Maybe I need a special ending for this one to unlock it. sound is this? Okay. Let me just give me a sec. If anything wants to open for me, that would be great. Stop it. You're fine. Okay, so let me put this here. I'll just pull it down a little. Okay. So if we is it this one? Yes. We need Okay, so it looks like we need to fix this one somehow. We need is this not the one I'm looking at? Yeah. We need to fix this, but none of these answers are right. Oh my god. Wait, no. We need... this, I think? No? Oh my god, thank you, mouse. Which endings do we have? We have the good ending and 2 of the bad ones. So I guess we'll just go in order. Just when my mind came back from wandering, the bell signaled the end of the exam had just rang. Everything had gone well. I left a note. I asked Lee to come and meet me in the tutoring room after school. She did unusually poor today and was dropping to the bottom of the class. It was very unusual. Lee had been through a lot with her own family since Geo was almost on us, as her head teacher had decided to give her some tough love. However, no matter how hard I scolded her, she was barely paying attention, other than the occasional yes and She didn't look like she was listening at all, not to mention self-reflecting. I suppose I shouldn't go overboard either. I figured I had said what I wanted to say, so I sent her back to the group study session. I wouldn't mind tutoring room after school. After school, Miss Yang was waiting for me in the tutoring room. She told me I did extremely poorly this time and that I had to stay for the study sessions today. During the session, I kept staring at my phone, hoping that he would respond to my messages. Nothing. It was 11 p.m. when I got home. I knocked on his door softly. No response. I went to check his balcony. The lights were still off. I sat on the floor with my back against the door, thinking that I would be able to hear him if he came back in the middle of the night. 1 a.m., 2 a.m., it began raining outside the window. 3 a.m., 4 a.m., it was also morning. What should I do if I still couldn't find him tomorrow? I suddenly had a bad feeling. Would I never be able to see him again? Stop, you're fine. I don't even remember what endings we have now. I don't know why I can't get the 8 endings. I looked at Lee, who was sitting by the window. She was looking back at me too. She should be focusing on her test. I shook my head and signaled to her to get back to the test. She lowered her head. Half an hour later, the exam was over. I left a note. I asked Lee to come and meet me in the tutoring room after school. I knew many senior students were going through a lot of pressure, but there were probably less than 10 students who were willing to talk to their teachers about it. Lee had been through a lot with her own family. I decided to give her some encouragement before KO. We greeted each other. I told her she had done well on today's test and to keep it up for Okay, in a few days. She was barely paying attention though. She seemed distracted and wasn't following the conversation the whole time. I figured I had said what I wanted to say and I sent her off. I then saw her from the window running out of school like an innocent little deer. That kid. She didn't have to worry a worry in the world, did she? Well, I will make sure to keep my promise. I took a peek at Miss Yang, and she was staring right back at me. I was so startled that I almost jumped and suddenly could understand the questions on the exam again. Thank goodness. Whatever, I needed to finish the exam first before worrying about anything else. If I screwed this up, I wouldn't be able to go anywhere after school. A note was left on my desk asking me to go to the tutoring room after school. After school, Miss Yang was waiting for me in the tutoring room, and she told me I did exceptionally well this time and encouraged me to keep it up. She even told me that if I needed any advice or help with anything else in life, I should feel free to come talk to her. I kept thinking about her words on my way home. That was the first time she had ever said something like that to me. It felt a little strange. It wasn't too late. When I got home, I knocked on his door softly. I don't even remember what I'm looking for now. Just when my mind came back from wondering, the bell signaled the end of the exam had rang. Everything was going well. I left a note. I asked Lay to come and meet me in the tutoring room after school. A thought had never occurred to me appeared in my head. Should I just copy it? But I never cheated in my entire life. But if I didn't, I would have to stay in detention for study sessions after school. I kept thinking about her words on my way home. That was the first time she had ever said something like that to me. It felt a little strange. No one responded. No. Why are you not giving me the ending I'm looking for? I have spent almost an hour and we've got nothing done. I have absolutely no idea what I need to do, actually. And obviously I haven't. And then I can't even unlock some of these next letters. So I have no idea. I think I messed up a long time ago, so I don't know if we can fix it at this point. But I'm hoping once I fix it, we can at least unlock another letter. That's what I thought too. But I have not figured out which letters we need to fix, though. I will be right back, though. You are being a pain. Okay. I am back. Just when my mind came back from wandering, the bell signaled the end of the exam. Everything had gone well. A note had been left on my desk asking to go to the tutoring room. We were chatting casually about today's test when she suddenly started crying. She was sobbing when she told me she had cheated during the exam. What surprised me most was her reasoning. I was at a loss. Once upon a time, I have had the same honesty and courage as she had. But at some point, I had turned into this middle-aged woman who would be gossiping about other people in the office. I knew it was a waste of time. I knew these fake compliments we kept telling each other meant absolutely nothing, but I had still locked myself into this mundane life day after day after day. That day, Lee and I talked so much like we were truly best friends about cheating, about KO, about W. The time for the exam soon ran out. I took out another exercise book from after the exam, but my mind wasn't in it. I left a note after school. Miss Yang came into the tutoring room as expected. I confessed to her about everything involved in the cheating of the exam. She crossed her arms in front of her and stared into my eyes. Why did you do it? Because I couldn't solve any of the problems. She kept staring at me with even more intense look. It wasn't a hard exam, at least not for you. I couldn't focus. Then I had somewhere that I have to be tonight, so I was worried about having to stay for the study session. I couldn't think of any convincing lie right on the spot, so I told Miss Yang the truth about everything. About why I couldn't solve the problems, about why I was unwilling to stay after school, even the truth about him. I fell into silence when I finished. I grabbed onto my skirt tightly and lowered my head. I couldn't look Miss Yang in the eye. Aren't you neighbors? You should be able to see him anytime you want, right? I just have a feeling that I must see him as soon as I can, otherwise I might. I had no idea what I was talking about, but Miss Yang laughed. She was laughing, but tears were coming out of her eyes. Kids these days. I'm really envious of you. You know what? I guess you could call it a sixth sense. Mr. Wan, he's got cancer. Miss Yang wiped away her tears. Stomach cancer, last stage. Okay, yes, thank you. Okay. We're gonna save. Let me make sure we don't need to do anything else to unlock things for this route. What is this called? Story of the Rainbow? Did I unlock? Okay. So it looks like we're almost done actually with her route. And then we can figure out other people's routes later. The mountain was called Shenglong Mountain. The name meant a mountain with two dragons. In mountain when the rain stopped. The rain was beating down on the bus window. It washed the view outside into a blur. The only thing recognizable was the blurry greenish mountain that was getting closer and closer. He's got cancer, stomach cancer, last stage. He's got cancer, stomach cancer. Last Miss Yang's words kept echoing in my head. Why didn't he tell me? Why would he just leave like this in secret? I thought we were at least friends. Once again, I had been left all alone. At the foot of the mountain, the ranger told me that hiking had been temporarily suspended due to the high possibility of mudslides. I managed to sneak past him when he wasn't paying attention. I was hiking up one step at a time, along the wet, slippery steps. When I swept up, I was maybe 100 meters away from the summit. No, it should be only 50 meters. A gust of wind at the mountaintop blew me off balance. I was blown over like a young, weak, and small tree. I rolled down the steps along with the mud and rocks. I tried to grab onto anything I could touch, the trees, the grass, but they all snapped. I was rolling down faster and faster. I could feel myself leaving solid ground. I was flying, and I saw the valley beneath me. I pulled a pen out of my pocket as fast as I could. A murky torrent of mud and rocks rushed down from up the mountain. I somehow stuck the pen into the cracks among the rocks and the cliff, but the torrent was too powerful. I felt weightless. I had never done bungee jumping before. I imagined it would probably feel something like this. I was falling. I kept falling. After what had felt like an eternity, my body finally touched the ground. I could feel something sticky coming out from my nose and my ears. It hurt so bad, so bad. I never thought this would be the end of me. I didn't want it to end like this. There were so many things I hadn't told him yet. In this modern life, there was right to the door that can't be delivered right to the door. Yet, despite this, there were still things that are beyond our control. For instance, the shipping fee. Or that to qualify for free shipping, you have to buy many small filler items hoping that they will be useful one day. Or that the tissues always run out sooner than expected. I always wrote down what I needed on my shopping list, then every Tuesday I would use the list when I went shopping at the nearby supermarket. I would usually go between the supper and evening discount hours. This way I could avoid the afternoon rush hours as well as the housewives who swarmed in for the discount goods and be done within 30 minutes. However, it wasn't a good day to go out. The weather was extremely bad that night. As soon as I faced like small pebbles, thunder exploded as if it was right on top of my head. I heard that spooky thing of might come out at night like this. And just when I had finished that thought, "Big brother, could you come play with me?" I suddenly heard a childish voice near me. I was so startled that I stumbled one step back. I stopped and took a closer look. It was a young boy that I had never seen before. "Hey, kids don't play outside in rain like this. You should go home." I hurried past him without. Just recently I had become the target of some malicious gossip. The mastermind behind it was the elementary school kid. As a result, I had been feeling easily off every time I saw these tiny, mischievous young children. However, something didn't feel right. 2 blocks later, a young girl jumped in front of me holding a flowery umbrella and said in a crisp voice, "Big brother, could you come play with me?" "Little girl, you are really cute, but Big brother is not going to play with you." "Leave me alone, all you cute boys and cute girls. I'm not in the mood." I held the umbrella lower and kept walking. However, I then mysteriously ran into several more children of similar ages, although all of them were wearing different clothes. Yet they all looked at me with. It was so freaky. I was almost walking as fast as an Olympian race walker. Just a little further. Once I turned around that corner, I would be at the supermarket. I bumped right, slipped out. I was very skinny. I couldn't see anything but a dark figure. Thunder kept booming in the clouds. Suddenly, a blinding bolt of lightning flashed across the sky city. The person was covered head to toe in dark clothes and underneath a clear raincoat. His face was mostly hidden behind a mask. I could only see a pair of ice-cold eyes that were glimmering from the flash of the lightning. I felt a chill climb up my spine behind the mask. I couldn't tell whether it belonged to a woman or a man, but I knew it was the most terrifying voice I had ever heard. "Could you come play with me?" I climbed off the ground, turned around, and ran as fast as I could without even picking up the umbrella. And yet I heard footsteps following behind me with the exact same pace as mine, and laughter. Who is that? Why are they chasing me? What does it want with me? The thought kept getting scarier and scarier in my head. I tried to shut them out and just kept running, but no matter how fast or how far I ran, the footsteps and the laughter were still behind me. My mother had always complained that I never exercised. She said that if I ran into a bad guy, I would be dead because I would be running too slow. "Mother, I promise I will never fail to listen to you ever again." My legs were getting heavier and heavier, and the footsteps behind me were getting closer and closer. Suddenly, my left hand was firmly grasped. I turned around in utter terror and gazed right back into those cold eyes once again. There was no way that those eyes could belong to a normal human being. The dark figure grabbed my wrist tightly with a strength that was way too powerful for its skinny frame. It then covered my nose and mouth with a damp cloth. A tide of exhaustion suddenly washed over me. Everything went dark. I passed out. When I woke up, I realized I couldn't move. Wait, why was I tied to a table with my arms and legs all spread out? And where had my clothes gone? Big brother. I heard his chilling voice right next to my ear. The masked person had a shiny scalpel in one of his hands this time. He kept brushing the back of the cold scalpel over my thighs. In his other hand, he was holding the gossip newspaper that had a picture of my butt. Big brother, I heard you like little boys' lollipops. Oh, what the hell? I tried to protest, but my body felt as heavy as a piece of cast iron, and the only sound I could make were some random noises. Actually, I like them too. What? I saw a silver reflection flash through the air. The pain was so intense that even my numb body couldn't ignore it. It looked like a warped red liquid splashed all over my body. The only thought I had before I completely lost consciousness was, damn, I shouldn't have gone out. Okay. Okay, so it looks like to unlock the next letter, we need the S ending on this one. So I think this should give us the S ending. How I found the strength. But I stepped forward at the last moment. I could feel my heel just missed the sliding mud. A torrent of mud was falling off the slope by the hilly roadside. A landslide. The mud and soil beneath the masked person suddenly began to move rapidly, as if they had just been awoken by the thunderous explosion in the sky. The masked person was stuck in the torrent and swept down the hill into the distance. The goddess of fortune must have heard my call for help. Lucky me. After struggling to calm down, I realized the new problem. Where the hell was I? I eventually managed to stop a taxi and get back home, even though I was completely lost. The warmth from another lifetime when I got home. They sucked me in instantly as if they were a black hole. The only thought I had before I completely lost consciousness was, I shouldn't have gone out. My heart skipped a few beats. It was kinda creepy. I wonder who all the little kids were, because I'm pretty sure the kidnapper was Park. My heart skipped a few beats. I felt like I had already died. I thought I must be in a wild dream. I had seen too many movies with a similar plot. The heroine was about to fall off a cliff, and the hero was able to catch her hand at the last moment. Then she would cut his hand with something and say, "Let me go or I'll drag you down too." However, I was no heroine. The blood was being washed away by the rain. It flew onto my hand and dropped onto my face. I had stuck a pen into the back of his hand, but it had been blown away by the heavy wind. This wasn't a movie. I would drag him down. I definitely would. But I didn't have the courage to tell him to let me go. I was such a coward. "Hold on, keep your eyes on me." He held me even tighter. The rain and tears had blurred my eyes. I couldn't see his face. "I'm sorry, I'm so scared." I was so scared of being left alone. Miraculously, he seemed to have heard my thoughts. "Don't be scared. I would never leave you alone, ever. He grabbed the tree next to him with his left hand and leaned back. The tree was already bending at a dangerous angle. My body was jerked upwards. The little tree snapped in half. At the same instant, he pulled me into his broad chest. He locked me in his strong arms. I felt a warmth that I hadn't felt in a long time. I couldn't think of anything to say. He didn't say anything either. Or maybe he did say something, but it was drowned out by the rain and I couldn't hear it. Okay, there we go. Okay. That is kind of creepy. Hopefully you don't have to hear those stories often. Okay. I mean, I don't, I try to not deal with the news, so, but when I do see it, that is a common thing. What is this? Okay. So it looks like to get the next letter, we need to get multiple endings here. Okay. The rain kept pouring down with no sign of stopping anytime soon. I carried Lee on my back to the ranger's cabin on top of the hill. She had already fallen asleep. Due to the danger of a potential landslide, the park rangers had evacuated earlier. I laid her down on the only bed in the cabin and tried to cover up with some sheets, yet I noticed something strange. I felt her forehead. It was a little too warm. Bottles of water in the cabinets. I tried to get her to take the pills. She leaned on my shoulder and mumbled half-consciously in her dreams, and then I had heard her say, "Father." I walked to the door and sat on the steps while staring at the rain. I had planned to travel to some new places where no one would know me and spend my final days there. I have even asked Yang Ying to watch over this kid on my behalf. I thought I could let this all go, yet the gods had made me run into her again here. God, haven't you toyed with me enough? When will you stop? Yang Ying had mentioned that Lei's father was a painter and that he passed away due to a heart problem. He sounded just like me. Was that why she had been so close to me? If so, what about how I felt about her? Ever since she had first come into my life, I had been paying extra attention to her. At first, I thought it was just out of curiosity, but lately that feeling seemed to have evolved in some way. When I had been in the hospital, I would often catch myself thinking about her without realizing it. I kept telling myself that it would never happen. After all, there had only been one person in my heart. The first day after I had gotten out of the hospital and gone back to school, I didn't see her in my class. During my lectures, I kept losing my thoughts until I saw her pass out at the back room of the classroom. I had no time to worry about other students staring at us. I carried her out of the school, but I couldn't get a cab. I had to run all the way to the hospital with her on my back. Why didn't you just call an ambulance? Maybe that was the moment when I started feeling something more, or maybe it had been earlier. When our pictures had been posted on the school forum, I had intentionally avoided her. When I walked past her, I knew she was staring at me. I felt like the most horrible and stupid person in the entire world. So that might have been the moment, but maybe not. It wasn't. No. I shouldn't be thinking about all this. She and I, it was never gonna happen. The night kept getting darker and darker. The rain kept falling. I was still sitting at the doorstep. I felt like I was dissolving into the rain and the night. I suddenly heard someone calling me from behind. She sat herself up on the bed, but looked away the second she saw my eyes. Mr. Wan, I have always liked you. I stood there thinking that I must have heard it wrong. I'm sorry, I knew I shouldn't have said it. You're my teacher, and I must have made you very uncomfortable, but I couldn't hold it in any longer. If I didn't tell you, I feel like I'm going to lose my mind. I'm sorry, Mr. Wan. I'm so sorry. Her hands were clenching the sheets tightly. I want to be with you. I pushed her. By the time I realized it, I could not see her anymore. Earlier, after hesitating for what felt like forever, I told her the cruelest. You have late-stage cancer? You can't be with her. You're dying, dude. I remember her expression when I had pushed her to the ground. She must have thought that I had been disgusted by her. But how could I ever feel that about her? The only person that had been disgusted was me. I was so scared. I had no idea what I could mean to her if I crossed that line. Her lover, her father, or just a pathetic dying cancer patient. I held my flashlight and began aimlessly searching for her in the rain. I almost slipped a dozen times, and when I realized that she must have slipped and fallen down, I hated myself even more. Before I knew it, it was daylight. The rain had finally stopped, and the sun had come out. The first ray of sunlight broke through the clouds and sparkled upon her body lying in the valley. She was so calm, so beautiful, and so still. She was not even breathing. I held her cold body in my arms. I felt like I lost the whole world again. Okay. This should be the S ending, and then we need to get the A ending to unlock the next letter. I couldn't simply ignore her existence any longer. She's so pure, so kind. She was a gift from God. I didn't want to hurt her, but I couldn't help myself anymore. I reached out to her and held her in my arms as tight as I could. I kissed her forehead. I kissed her cheek. I kissed her lips. I undressed her. I kissed every inch of her body. Her long hair dripped over. Okay. Over my arms. It fell onto the bed. Her pale body was glistening with the warm light from the candles. She was trembling beneath me. My soaking wet shirt had been stuck to my skin, but it was becoming boiling hot with our body heat. Our two heartbeats were pounding and racing and becoming one. The rain kept falling, but the world outside did not concern us, not one bit, not for a long while. The rain had finally stopped, and the sun had come out. The first ray of sunlight came through the window and fell upon her long, soft hair. I gently kissed her forehead. The rest of my life belonged to you now, and I would live it well for you. Okay. Crying ran towards the door. Okay. You're fine, go away. I pushed her, ran to the door. Okay, there we go. Boop. What on earth had I been saying? I couldn't bear to look at her anymore. I ran out of the cabin and sat down at the door, pretending to be staring at the rain. She sat down to my right. Perhaps we had a mutual understanding. Neither of us had said anything, not for a long while. The rain had finally stopped and the sun had come out. Do you see a rainbow? I wasn't expecting her to ask about this, and I was a little surprised. No. A few minutes later, she leaned her head on my shoulder and fell asleep. She didn't seem to be dreaming this time. I looked at her beautiful smile as she slept, and I finally made up my mind. I let her sleep on my shoulder quietly for another half hour. I wanted to selfishly enjoy these last glamorous moments by my. The world had stopped moving for all I cared. I couldn't make you happy in this life, but if I had the chance, I would dedicate my entire next life to be with you. Can I just change it? Yes, okay, cool. What are we doing with this letter? I think we have to... Okay, so it looks like we have to go through all the endings to get an achievement for this letter. In the subway train, an old blind woman raised a well-worn metal mug to my face. An old man who looked like her husband was keeping her from behind, was helping her from behind with one hand. His other hand was holding a worn-out speaker. It was playing "May Happiness Be With You." Beijing had banned soliciting in the subway, but these beggars could still often be seen in the cars. Nobody wanted to be the bad guy or feel guilty, so no one would report them to the authorities. I put $5 in the mug. I usually wouldn't do something like this, but I just wanted them to leave me alone today. Besides the beggars, there were only a few passengers in the train car, a mother and a son who had just come back from an amusement park, a couple who was laughing while looking at their tablet, a salaryman who apparently had just gotten off work and he was telling his honey on the phone to go to bed without him. I felt so envious. I didn't want to go home because even at home I would still be alone. The car was quiet except for the occasional chit-chatting. The wheels ran along the tracks and the PA system announced the stops. The next station is Station B. The next station is Station G. Station G is a transfer station. The next station is Station H. Station H is a transfer station. Passengers from another line, please prepare to get off. The next station is Station P. I wasn't sure how many stations it had been since I got on the station at Station B near my home. I didn't bring much of anything with me. Perhaps I should just keep going until I reached the final station in the countryside. I had enough money on me to buy another ticket to Tianjin there. The last time I had gone was when I was in elementary school. I remembered that I had gone with my father that time. Perhaps this time I wouldn't be coming back. I lay down on the chairs next to me and raised my left hand in front of my eyes. The fluorescent lights on the ceiling shone through my fingers as if they were blinking. The ring I had on my ring finger seemed to be fading out. God, were our fates already determined or not? Was it really something that could be changed? Map? What is map? Oh, okay, that's cool. But does not matter, I'm just looking it up. Okay. Well, I finally got home. I went into the apartment carrying a full bag of random goods. Stop that! From the rural shopping mall. The place was a mess. Toys and clothes that I still hadn't sold were everywhere. I washed my face. And then the 2 apples that were in my fridge. They were the only edible thing in there. I took a bite from one of them and put the other in front of a photo of Mr. Wan. "Hey, how have you been?" "I'm doing well." I would say this to his photo every time I came back. Then I would pretend that he was responding and ask about my day, to which I would then reply that I was doing well, even though it was a total lie. He'd had the surgery at the same time that I graduated high school. It was a success at first. However, during my freshman year in pre-med, things took a bad turn. The doctor said the cancer cells had spread. He's trying to play with a toy, and it just scared me because I wasn't expecting it. Yeah, you can keep playing, just don't scare me. Without telling him, I took a leave of absence from the school to take care of him, and I started living with him. He was always cheerful at the beginning, assuring me that there were all kinds of new treatments available. I knew he was just trying to make me feel better, but I was still watching him get weaker and weaker and losing the fight day by day. Cancer was a real monster. We were completely powerless against it. On this day, 3 years ago, he was gone and left me all by myself. I applied to medical school because of him, but I had lost all of my will to continue after he passed away, so I dropped out of school and started working. Since I didn't have my college diploma, all I could get was some random part-time jobs. I used the spare time to manage an online shop selling small, cheap goods. My earnings could barely cover my monthly rent. Sometimes I literally couldn't afford meals and had to shamelessly go and beg for help from Jing, who had only recently gotten a job after graduating from college. Sometimes I wonder if there was any point in living like this. The only thing that kept me going were these precious memories of mine. I opened the glass doors of my cabinet. My notebook was on my right. It had all of the text messages between him and me. I had copied them all down into the notebook of my phone. An artistic collection book was right next to the notebook. He once took me to an exhibit for that artist. A photo album was placed to its left. I took the album out. The first photo in the album was the one with us in a coffee shop. That was the only one of us before we were officially together, and we had taken many, many afterwards. There was one with us at the New Year's Eve countdown, the one with us at the festivals, one with Mo, one with him pacing in the hospital yard, and the last one with him smiling weakly at the camera. He seemed to have known that it would be the last memory he could ever leave with me. The timestamp said 1 day before my birthday. It had been the day before my 20th birthday. Well, we unlocked 2 achievements, but I think there's still another one we have to that we started with. I stayed in the subway, changing from one line to another. It was already dark when I came out of Station B. It wasn't a highly populated neighborhood. The only reason he and I had decided to live here was because the rent was cheaper. The grass was tall near the exit, and the streetlights were dim. I walked down the street and watched my own shadows getting longer and longer. Suddenly, another shadow appeared next to mine. For a split second, I fantasized that it was his shadow. A wet cloth was put over my nose and mouth. It had a strong smell. My brain stopped functioning. I was lost inside darkness. Okay, this should be the last ending, and we will be done with Lee's story. My phone just buzzed again. Another complaint from another customer whining about the quality of my goods. Oh, please, what kind of quality do you expect from something that cost you $5? I got off the train at a random station. I had enough. I didn't know how to keep living like this. There were few people in the station. The next train was 5 minutes away. I stood there on the platform, completely still, for 5 minutes. Until the headlights of the train blinded me. I jumped up and landed on the railway. I learned one thing. Those movie scenes where a person gets hit by a train and then flies into the air were all lies. And that's the last achievement for her. There we go. Okay. Change this back to that one before I forget. Save. So it looks like we just need to get the S ending for this letter. Okay, I think this will be the last letter we're doing today. I know I spent like an hour trying to figure out what we're doing, but I do have things I need to do. Oh, well, maybe. We might unlock another achievement on one of Jimmy's letters after this. Because I think it will be easy. We have most of the endings. Ever since I was a little kid, I had always liked to ponder certain questions. Why was I me? Why were other people them? Why wasn't I other people? Why weren't they me? Did the world really exist? And was everyone living in it the same as I? Or was the world like a movie playing in front of me, and I was the projector of the movie? If I shut myself down, would the world still exist? I knew I would never find out the answers to these questions because I could else. Even when I had learned that there were over 7 billion people on the earth, or that compared to the sun, the earth was as big as a grain of sand on a beach, or that in the universe our sun was barely as big as a grain of sand. I still didn't have the answers to these questions. Therefore, ever since I was a little kid, I had always been eager to prove myself to the world. I must get the best grades on an exam. I must be the last person standing in a fight. I must be the best artist in the world. And I almost had been the world's finest artist 14 years ago in an unusual wet and living in Venice at the time, preparing for my first personal art show. If the show was a success, it would be possible in the world, recognized alongside some of the greatest names in history. After also excited, when my fiancée called and told me that she had caught the flu and that she had to be hospitalized for a few days, I barely thought twice about it. I just told her to get some rest, thinking I would make it up to her by a huge surprise as soon as I got back home. I could never have imagined that a crumbled and ruined world would be awaiting me. First, when the entire country was embroiled in a devastating fight against the virus and gasping for breath, I was laughably living in my own space, completely isolated from the tragedy. When my bubble finally burst, I realized everything that I had ever chased meant nothing anymore. I was nothing but a selfish coward. I kept painting, but only because I had no idea what else I could possibly do. 10 years later, I had been diagnosed with stomach cancer. Karma. I didn't want to, nor did I deserve to cause anyone any more trouble. So I had the surgery alone and left China with barely any luggage. The world was so big, and I wanted to see it before the end. The Amazon jungle, Antarctica, the Middle East. I suffered from hunger and cold, and I had even been hit by a bullet. When I had finally thrown away all of my nonsense and started truly appreciating the world for what it was, I began to realize that this world and the lives in it were all so magnificent and real. Another 3 years had gone by, and I had been feeling pretty great when I went to the doctor for another checkup. The doctor said that I was in remission. The cancer had been under control. He said my positive and relaxed attitude could be very helpful for treatment. Before I left, he told me to keep living life and treasure it like I had been given a second chance. After I left the hospital, I suddenly had the urge to go and see a person whom I had often been thinking about, but I couldn't allow myself to. I could only hope that she was having a happy and good life. I had settled down in Hong Kong and had rented a small studio and had been teaching little kids drawing. I wasn't well paid, but I was enjoying myself. Occasionally, there would be a few people who would visit my studio, and they told me that they wanted to purchase of the most unforgettable people and events in my life. How could I possibly sell them? God had always loved toying with me. Just when I was getting used to my peaceful life, it had struck upside down again, literally this time. A severe earthquake hit the island of Hong Kong without any warning. When I came to, I had been buried under debris. My right hand was pinned under a large piece of concrete, and I lost all feeling. I assumed the bones had probably been broken. A day had gone by. I hadn't had anything to drink since the day started. The day had gone by. I thought I had heard someone yelling something. A day had gone by. The darkness had swallowed me. I had gone 3 days without water. My body was severely dehydrated, and I couldn't even urinate. I thought I had heard someone calling my name for the past 2 days. I must have started hallucinating. Things couldn't get any worse. I looked at my right hand underneath the concrete and I still couldn't feel anything. I made a decision. 1, 2, 3, 4. I picked up a rock from my left hand and smashed it at my right wrist until I started bleeding. I sucked up my own blood, trying not to waste a single drop. Perhaps it was an illusion, but I felt a little more energy through my body. Yet my decision did not pay off. Another few days had gone by. My right hand barely looked like a hand anymore. There were still no signs of rescue. I wanted to live. Body there, please spawned. This voice. I could never forget this voice ever. My mind went back to teaching days 3 years ago. The girl that I had chosen to be my assistant just because I wanted to go home early, she was yelling my name. She was angry at me that I torn up her friend's sketch. She did not know that we had already met the night before. If a person could live in his own memory after death, I wish I could return to that moment and freeze time. Then I would look at her, do nothing but just look at her until the end of time. A small pebble fell down on my head. I opened my eyes. The lights coming through the crack blinded me as I hadn't seen light for so long. The crack was becoming bigger and bigger until my face was completely exposed to the sunlight. I could see the person who was closest to my heart, but only their silhouette. Still, it looked incredibly like her, but how could that possibly be? The silhouette stopped moving. It seemed to be hesitating. Can you hear me? Can you move your hand? It sounded like her. Even though I knew it couldn't possibly be her, I still teared up, unable to control myself. I struggled to raise my left hand. She reached out with her hand. Don't let go. Hold on. Now keep your eyes on me. Hold on. Keep your eyes on me. I'm sorry. I'm so scared. Don't be scared. I would never leave you alone. Ever. Don't be scared. I would never leave you alone. Ever. I held onto her hand as tightly as I could with all the strength I had left. Even if it was an illusion, I would never let her go again. I'm sorry, I had broken my word. For the last 3 years, I had thought about what I would say to her if I ever got to meet her again so many times in my head. I had practiced all of the various scenarios I could think of, yet in the end, all I was able to mutter were mere sorry. She didn't respond, but I could feel her shaking. I took a deep breath. Could you give me another chance to love you? 1 year later, a new piece of mine was on display at the Beijing Exhibit Center. I had named this piece The Sun. A lot of people asked me, wouldn't The Sunrise be a more appropriate title? I would always respond with a smile. Yes, to the others, the piece was about a sunrise, but to me, it was about the most important thing in my life. It was the sun, not the sun. I glanced at the girl to my right, who was staring at the painting quietly. I put my arm around her shoulder. It started snowing outside of the center. The pedestrians all stopped and marveled at the scene. No one had ever seen snowing in the middle of summer. Guess you Yet while the snow kept getting heavier, the sun was still shining blindingly in the sky. I held onto her hand even tighter. We both smiled. God had really blessed me. There we go. We've got all the endings for him. It was interesting though to have the juxtaposition of both their stories in one. I wonder if we'll see more of that and see that the characters are starting to see we're messing around with the timeline. Okay. We are looking for this one? No. This one. This one. Okay. We're missing one ending here. And we should get in a... There we go. Did that not unlock the ending? No, it did. Maybe I just missed... No, stop. I don't know why I didn't unlock the ending for it. Okay, it looks like we don't need to do anything special for Jimmy to unlock more endings. Well, I'll just bookmark this or whatever so we can have it for next week. But we at least finished the first 4 characters. Rocky's done. Miss Yang, Mr. Wan, and Lee. I think we're almost done, actually. Maybe. I don't know if it was great progress, so we wasted like an hour trying to figure out what we're doing. But it was progress. But I will call it here. I did save. I'm pretty sure I saved. We'll save again. I guess. But I will call it here. Have a great Halloween, everyone. I will see you all next week. Alright. Bye. Here we go.